at St. Pete's, we use the language of outwards living or an outward rhythm to our lives is sort of a way to talk about mission. It's kind of the same thing, just different language. And we talk about mission really being God's love on the move that we get to be part of.
Yeah.
So mission is simply what God is already doing around us, and then his invitation to us to join into that. So in practical ways, how that looks in the life of our church is we have community groups who engage in mission or meeting with outwards partners throughout the city, and those are different partners in Vancouver that are working to various things, help settle refugees, help low-income housing communities, some elderly housing communities where we go and really focus on offering the gift of being seen and known. Kind of, again, a slower pace of trying to offer the gift of presence with people and then listen for opportunities for where God might want to love someone.
Yeah.
But we also encourage it just more widely to pay attention in our everyday life of what we're already doing and having eyes to see again where God might say, take another step in this direction, outside the walls of the church or outside the people, the walls of the church, the people who you're already in community with. So,
is there any kind of cool story that you could share around that?
I was just thinking about that. Like, it struck us, like one thing we do at St. Pete's kind of for one another often is meal trains. When people have babies or are sick, everyone signs up and brings them a meal. And we were talking about this one night at my community group, and a friend in the group said, well, I have a friend who, her son is about to go in, a small child, is about to have this massive surgery, and she's really scared about it. She's not a Christian. She doesn't know how she's going to take care of him and all the rest. And so it was just this kind of light bulb moment of like, oh, well, let's just do a meal train for her. Like, we don't know her. She's not in the church. And, we did it. And it was so striking for this woman that like something that we take for granted in the church, as simple as making meals for each other when we're having a hard time, just isn't normal.
No, it's not, is it?
It's like weird for most people, particularly when it's a group of strangers just showing up at your house and bringing meals. And it just softened and created more space for conversation. I mean, I can also think of a time not long ago. With my wife, we meet with a couple others on Friday nights normally and just ask, where'd you see God this week in your week? And this wasn't long ago. She got there and was like, I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if I saw God anywhere this week. And then she paused for a minute and said, no, actually, like when I sit and think about it and think about the week, like God was at work. And something simple like our neighbor who we've gotten to know just a little bit, our kids are obsessed with emergency vehicles. We have two little boys, 2 and 5. They love like fire trucks and ambulances and all the rest, police cars. So one pulled up on our street, so they were obviously first to see it, but Deanna was, of course, noticing this as well. And so our neighbor, her partner had a heart attack and had to go to the hospital. And so she was watching this happen, like him go off in the ambulance, and it's COVID, so she couldn't go with him. And just this moment where she sees the ambulance leave, and the wife is standing kind of in the yard alone, and kind of in this really vulnerable moment, and she felt just kind of a prompting to go love her, to join God's love on the move in that moment, in that time, and just go kind of chat with her. And then later in the day, she had our boys make them cards and just kind of a little gift basket and take it over and just say like, hey, we're praying for you. We see this as a really hard day. And so, again, it's these moments of slowing down and accepting that command to love our neighbors as ourselves, like truly love them just for where they're at and for what's going, like this physical neighbor is that moment for us, but of course it's other people too who are in our physical neighbors. And listening to those promptings, and then sometimes it's taking a risk.
Yeah.
That isn't always the most comfortable thing to do. Sometimes there can be rejection in that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's part of it too.
And I think rejection is a very small part of the time.
Yeah,
I think people just want to be loved.
Yes.
And so something so simple as to go and love your neighbor or go and make a meal for a stranger.
It's profound, and it also restores credibility for what the church is.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of bad press for the church at our day and time, but we are people who are called to love God and love our neighbors as ourselves. And these small acts of just living that out really shocks people. And then is a stepping stone of saying like, oh, you're a part of a church. Like this is my experience of the church now. Like maybe I've had others, but now I've had this one. And it does start to shift things and create space for conversation.
Awesome.